The breakfast martini is one of the world's most underrated cocktails, but everyone knows you can't have breakfast without an espresso. This might be the coffee cocktail mashup that makes more sense than any other, but I've never seen it done before. So today we're going to make the breakfast espresso martini. Let's make some coffee cocktails. Alright, welcome back to the Coffee Cocktail channel everyone. I'm Dan Fellows, and today we're going to be talking about the breakfast espresso martini. So this is the second recipe, which features our zero waste orange liqueur. And if you've not seen that episode, you can learn how to make this just here. If you're new here, I'm Dan, welcome to the channel. This channel is all about coffee and all about cocktails and kind of bringing the two together in kind of interesting and creative ways. And if that sounds interesting to you, you can subscribe to the channel, which really goes a long way to support the channel. So if you're interested in either cocktails or coffee and want to really level up your skills, you can watch my detailed long-form courses either through Patreon or Skillshare, and I'll put links to both in the description below. This also greatly supports the channel, so thank you very much. So before we start riffing on the breakfast martini, to make our breakfast espresso martini, we should talk about what exactly a breakfast martini is. And it's kind of a beautiful story. So it was invented in the 1990s by a legendary bartender called Salvatore Calabrese, and Salvatore is an Italian, and as an Italian, he reckons he only drinks coffee as his breakfast, which is fair enough. But his wife just didn't agree with this. And one day she forced him to have a slice of marmalade on toast to go with his coffee. And he seemed really inspired by the kind of bitter, sweet acidity of the marmalade. And he took it to work and created what ended up being the breakfast martini. So to that base of marmalade, he added a good measure of gin, as well as Cointreau and lemon juice to make a really nice kind of shaken sweet and sour cocktail, which you garnish with orange zest. And I've also seen it garnished with a slice of toast occasionally, if you like. And then the breakfast martini was born. Given the fact that this story literally contains coffee and a delicious sweet and sour cocktail with really complex flavor notes that tie in with coffee, I'm surprised that this has never done before, and stay tuned until the end of the video where you'll see the results, which I'm really happy with. So to make our breakfast espresso martini today, we're not just going to mindlessly whack an espresso into a breakfast martini, which doesn't work. We're going to do three things. First of all, we're going to choose a really delicious coffee which kind of bridges the two drinks together, bringing vibrancy and acidity and working really well to kind of harmonize the two together. We're also going to be using a really delicious zero waste orange liqueur to really level up that orange flavor, as well as bringing some acidity. And then third, we're going to be using my espresso martini template to make sure everything's really well connected, really well balanced and kind of thought through. And if you've not seen that video, I'll put it just here now. So for our breakfast espresso martini, we're going to need a good quality orange marmalade, a bright, vibrant espresso, just like this washed pink bourbon from Colombia, from my friends at Blossom Coffee Roasters. We're going to need gin, which I recommend putting in the freezer, our zero waste orange liqueur, and a 1 to 5 saline solution, made with 1 part salt to 5 parts water. So first of all, we're going to start with our marmalade, which is kind of the foundation of a breakfast martini. And we want to probably weigh this, and we're going to go 1 teaspoon, which equates to around about 10 grams. And it's quite important to control this to make sure we don't get too much sweetness or bitterness or kind of pithiness, and to get a consistent drink. And then to this, we're going to add our hot espresso. And you want to choose a coffee which has got really nice kind of vibrant acidity, just like this coffee. So this was brewed with 18 grams of coffee for a 40 gram yield. I brewed it as espresso, but if you don't have an espresso machine, you could use something like an AeroPress with a Prismo filter, or something like a Wakako Pico Presso. But if you do have access to an espresso machine, it really does make the drink. So now I've got our espresso marmalade mixing together. We just want to use the hot espresso to dissolve the marmalade, and this will just make sure it really kind of ends up in the final drink. So per the espresso martini template, whenever I use hot espresso, which I recommend doing when you can, I like to freeze my spirits. So breakfast martini contains gin. I've got my gin in the freezer, which I'm going to go get. I'm going to go 40 mils of something like a Beefeater gin, something that's kind of juniper forward. And you want to make sure that it's got plenty of that intensity. Too delicate a gin would be lost in here. But Beefeater is a really affordable option and really delicious. And I've yet to have an espresso martini with gin leading as the flavor profile that I've really enjoyed. However, this one changes that completely. So now we've got our gin, we need to add our orange liqueur, which I recommend just giving a little shake and storing this in the fridge. And this is going to bring a really kind of natural orange flavor to the drink. But because it's pre-balanced with those acids, we're going to omit the lemon juice. And we've got a little bit of acidity from the espresso, a little bit of acidity here, so we really don't need to add that lemon. It's already going to be deliciously balanced as it is. The final ingredient is going to be a seasoning to kind of bridge all those big, diverse flavors together. Because we've got an espresso martini, we've got a breakfast martini, something to bring all that together is going to be salt. So I'm going to add 1 gram of a 1 to 5 saline solution. This isn't necessarily something you'd taste, but it really kind of harmonizes everything together really nicely. So to reiterate the recipe, we've got 10 grams of marmalade, 40 grams of a bright, vibrant espresso brewed with 18 grams of coffee. We've got 40 mils of our frozen gin, which wants to be juniper forward, 20 mils of our zero waste orange liqueur, and then 1 gram of saline solution. We'll now give this a really good shake over ice. And there we have the breakfast espresso martini. We're going to garnish with a little orange zest coin, and you can serve a slice of toast on the side if you fancy. Cheers everyone. It's so nice. It's an espresso martini that's refreshing, gin forward, orangey, peely. I'm so happy with this. It's such a tasty drink. These two drinks are an absolute match made in heaven, and I can't believe they've never been combined before, but I'm very, very happy that they have been done now. So I'd strongly recommend you give this a go. If you do so, make sure you let me know how it goes in the comments below, and you can also follow me on Instagram at danfellows1 for more coffee cocktail content. You can sign up to Patreon, or you can watch the courses through Skillshare if you want to see my coffee and my cocktail courses, both of which massively support the channel. And if you've enjoyed this, you can subscribe to the channel by clicking here. So this contains our zero waste orange liqueur, and if you don't know how to make this already, you can click here, and you can click just down here for a few more recipes that feature it. So I'm gonna go back to this because it's so tasty, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.